what's up, YouTube? This is your host with the most, King Gio, in the house. I want to say thank you to everybody. I'm very grateful that I've reached the subscriber that I have, and I would like to have more subscribers. So please, I urge you that on this video that you stay here until the end. I'm going to make some good points on this, hopefully. So if you have not subscribed, subscribe to my channel and hit that notification button right there, and it'll notify you when I, King Gio, had made a video. As you are all well aware that this past weekend here in North Carolina, a young boy by the name of Hinnant passed away. He was murdered. He was murdered by a 25-year-old man by the name of Darian Sessions. And I wanted you guys to know how the media and how some people play this. Okay, how people wants to start something where there's something that shouldn't be started in the first place. I'm gonna go with a religious conservative blogger by the name of Matt Walsh and Donald Trump Jr. Okay, so it's unfortunate that we have a 5-year-old that was murdered in front of his house. His father believes that his father doesn't believe that it was racially motivated. He said that prior to that day, he had invited Mr. Sessions to have a beer in his porch. So the police are withholding as the motive behind the shooting. They haven't said anything so far, so we're gonna keep it as, just for now, as a murder. Now, my point to all this is that I'm going to get to this. There are a lot of people out there. You have, and I will quote from him, from Mr. Carson from the Fox News, that he said that no big media that no media outlet is covering this, right? And then you have conservative religious blogger Matt Walsh, that he said and writes for The Blaze and HuffPost and Daily Wine. He said he tweeted, "Reverse the races, and this will be lasting. This will last almost a month. You reverse the races, and this will be lasting a month." Guys, these are people who wants to stir something up. They want to compare what happened to George Floyd, that George Floyd got national attention, and this young poor boy who unfortunately passed away by the hands of an asshole. Actually, there's no other word to say, that plain and simple asshole. Passed away on the hands of his asshole. Doesn't get national coverage or anything like that. He did, at least in my state, he did get coverage, because I saw it. I saw it on TV. I saw it on the internet, and I saw it in other outlets across the country. Now, when these idiots and these bloggers and he's a religious person, he's not even supposed to give an opinion as to that. He's just supposed to. His words is supposed to be a consolidation of consoling the family, not making remarks like this, because remarks like this is to a start, like he said. He said that, and there will be almost certainty be writing spiraled on in part by the increase of coverage. So he's saying that if there was increased coverage. No, he's saying that as the coverage is more increased, that will be getting writing. There's not going to be no writing on this. There shouldn't be no writing on this. These are two murders that happened, two different situations. Okay, people rioted for George Floyd because the people were tired of police brutality. People, get that straight. Police brutality. This young boy died in the hands of an asshole. Okay, we cannot riot because the news coverage didn't cover the news. The news did its job and did cover it. Okay, the people was the one that gave the attention to George Floyd because they saw a man die in front of their eye. Millions of people literally saw a man die in front of their eyes out of the hands of police brutality. And this is not the first man that dies. And this is unfortunate. This is not the first young boy that dies in the hands of an asshole. And if it was a white guy who killed a black kid, then it still should be the same. It's a murder. Okay, does the kid needs attention? Yes. Should we go out and riot? No. Should we be mad because of the media, because of what you say about these guys saying that didn't get media attention? No. Because the kid got the attention. What we got to focus on is number one, this kid lost his life. We got to focus on the parents who are suffering right now. And the third thing we got to focus is the investigations got to focus on is why did this man kill this young boy? And once they've established that and they know why and they give us that information, and then we base our opinions on that, whether he has mental health, and then let's just say he wasn't taking his meds or he was out, he was parole, and then upon what Mr. Sessions says, and then we make our own assessment, and then we make our own conclusion, and then we can go forward and say, you know what? Then we blame the Department of Correction for letting this guy out, or we let the health department out because this person should have been in the hospital, or we blame his doctor because his doctors were keeping over to his meds. Then you do the blame game. But to do these kind of things like this is irresponsible because a young boy died. This kid, it's 5 years old on his bike. He gets shot in the head by a guy. But we don't know why. We don't know why it happened. Why? And I was upset. I was upset. But I was upset at both deaths upset me because this death upset me because it's a 5-year-old boy who had a future and a life ahead of him, and this asshole took it away. So I want to know why this asshole did that. Why? I got mad at George Floyd's death because this man was pinned down for 8 minutes and he's telling you he can't breathe, and you killed him right in front of people. There were a lot of things that he could have been done. There were a lot of things that were being done prior to that, which the camera showed. But this is not about George Floyd. This is about Hinnant and Hinnant. I'm sorry, Hinnant, and his death, and how once this gentleman reviews the purpose of why he killed this kid, and then we have to start looking at it and then start saying, okay, why? Then we start planning with the things that we can do and cannot do as a parent. Because as a parent, you have your child in front of your house. You don't think nothing's gonna happen. And then comes your neighbor, about all things, your neighbor, and kills him. The other day in Florida, no one said anything about this, but it was national news too, where a father in Florida testified against a neighbor because of his dog, and that neighbor, once they went to court and they found the neighbor guilty, went to his house, shot the 5-year-old girl, and shot her father to death. Okay. 2 separate instances. Now we got to find out. This guy was in his 80s. So those are the things that we got to find out. Why these people do these things? If it's mental health, then we have to find out how can mental health be reformed. How can we help these people who are sick in the head to do some shit like that? But it saddens me. It hurts me that people like this, what's his name again? Matt Walsh would write something, would even tweet something like this. It's offensive when Trump Jr., okay, says that this didn't get media coverage. I mean, these are things that we're not supposed to do. You can't be comparing peaches with apples. Murder is murder. Yes, that we agree on, but the circumstances are different. If we riot to every murder there was in the world, then we just have anarchy. We can't do that. We have to live we are a civilized nation who we riot and we voice our voices when we need to be heard. And this is unfortunate. This kid should be having a vigil. This kid should be remembered like any other victim. Any 5, 6, 7-year-old victim should be remembered because they lost their lives because of some asshole. I don't keep saying assholes. That's what they are. They are assholes. These people who killed children. Okay, these are just coward people who got nothing better else to do. And I hope things, God forgive me, he get his due in jail. So to say that we didn't, so this video is to have the memory of this young boy of Cannon stay for us forever, because every day we go through life and there's a kid being killed in America, and that's a fact. And it just appalls me that you have people like this. And I would say Chris Tucker from from Fox News, I'm sorry. Tucker from Fox News. This guy Walsh, conservative religious, and Trump Jr., who would actually have the audacity to make this something that it's not. Because I, as a parent, if God forbid this happened to me, I don't want to know about the media coverage. I would not compare myself. Oh, look, they gave this person so much media, and then they gave my kid any, or they gave my kid few. No, I don't want to know about that. I'm going through a process in my life that's the last thing in my mind. I'm missing my son. I'm thinking about why this happened. Why did he shoot my son, or she shot my son? Why? All these whys. Not why CNN didn't cover me. Why is Fox News didn't cover me? Why did the New York Post didn't cover me? Or the North Carolina Chronicles, whatever newspaper there is out here. That's not going to be it. That's not going to be in my mind. But then you have people like this that like to stir things up. Then you have Donald Trump Jr. and then you have Tucker on Fox trying to rouse things. And then they'll say, "Oh, there'll be a riot." This conservative watch will say there'll be riots when this gets more coverage. No, there won't be no more riots. We cannot, as a nation, allow this to be a riot, because this has nothing to do with brutality, as was with George Floyd, as with the many murders that police committed against black people. Police murders, not black on black, not because there's no police murders. Okay, yes, there have been white people who have been killed by let's say by white cops. There have been murders by cops from white people. I mean, white people have been murdered by white cops. White people have been murdered by black cops. This gets attention, not that much as with you witnessing someone being killed right in front of your face. All right, like the other one a few years ago, where the cop shot inside the car while his fiance was there and the baby was in the backseat of the car. That's what people are writing for. That's what people are doing the Black Lives Matter movement. That's why people are fed up. But this case in itself is totally relevant. It's relevant. It's irrelevant from that case. That case is irrelevant from this case. This case has it comes down to the life of a 5-year-old who was taken away. And now his mother has to do a funeral, and now his mother has to go to court and find out why this asshole did what he did. What, in her mind, she's saying to herself, and her father's saying to himself, what did my son do to this guy to deserve this? Some people are maybe questioning God. God, if you're so great, why you let this happen? Look, those are the things that go through people's minds, not gibberish like this. Because gibberish like this, you know what this ends up doing? Then you see later on, Donald Trump Jr. is going to say, and I guarantee you probably say, this only happens in the blue states. That's why the blue states, this is why this kid died. And in other words, he'll probably say, I wouldn't be surprised if he said, if he lived in a red state, Texas, whatever it can be, or Arizona, this wouldn't happen. Okay? So they are doing this for views. This Walsh guy, like I said before, if he's a religious blogger, he shouldn't even said those words that he said, that this may cause a riot, this will cause a riot with increase, that if the race were turned around, this will be talked about a month. No, because if a white guy killed a black kid, we're not going to say, oh, look at those white. No, because this is just a person killing another person. If it was something that was reoccurrence and the cops didn't do anything, and then you can say that. But you always have people who always try to do things. And this guy, Walsh, Matt Walsh should be ashamed of himself to call himself a religious leader, because his job, if he's religious, he's a pastor, whatever he is that gave him that title of religious blogger, should be consoling the family, consoling people who are suffering right now because this young kid, because just because you're not the mother of this child, that doesn't mean that's not going to touch you in your heart. Just because you're not the father of this child, that doesn't mean it's going to touch your heart. Because I'm not the father of that child, and it touched me. Okay, because I can't not put myself in this man's shoes, but I can know what I would do if it happened to me. So I feel some of that pain, that what I think he might go through, but I can't put myself in his shoes, and I don't want to put myself in his shoes. But that's what this guy should be doing. He should be consoling these people, calling them up if he has their number. Listen, this is that. I want to give my condolences to you. If you need anything, we are here to help. I'm here to help. I will give you advice. That's what you do. Donald Trump Jr., instead of talking all this garbage, should pick up the phone and talk to the father or the mother. Say, listen, this is Donald Trump Jr. And on behalf of the family, and on behalf of the family, and on behalf of the Trump family, we want to give our condolences, and we'll do everything that we can to make sure that the justice is served. That's what you do. You don't go on the news and say, oh, there's no news coverage. This kid is not getting news coverage. When CNN, CBS, NBC, most of the news coverage, most of the news outlets did cover it. What are you going to do? You're going to hold a riot in front of whose house? To say what? Because we don't know anything. We don't know why this kid, we don't know why Darian Sessions shot this boy. And like I said, prior to that, his father bought, the kid's father offered him, a drink the day before, to have a drink with him, a beer, in his house, in his porch. So it compels me to understand the mentality of people. These are the people, Mr. Walsh, Donald Trump Jr., Chris Tucker from Fox News. All they want is, these 2 out of 3, all they want is views. All they want is people to believe the narrative. Chris Tucker's another one. He's another moron. Instead of dedicating a little time and respect to that young man, give him the little 5 or 10 minutes of fame. Talk about who he was, what he was doing, what he liked to do. If you can't call a family up and put them on the phone and say, listen, we at the Fox station, but there's no empathy at all. None at all. Because they want to put their narrative. And then they push. So for them to say, oh, there was no coverage, and then you have some asshole thinking, oh, that's right, there's no coverage, and being that they're a fanatic of Fox, they'll go and they'll start a riot, or they'll start doing something stupid because they sparked the fire. They were the one that started all this. So this is total unprofessional and unhuman from each and every one of these, because each and every one of these people have an influence. Tucker has an influence on Fox. This guy, the blogger, has an influence on his blog, right? Donald Trump Jr. has an influence because he's the advisor for his father. They all have influence in one way or another, and that influence should be taken to good. If I was in a position to have that much influence, trust me, my influence to people would be great, because I try to motivate people. I try to have people look at things in a different perspective. I don't want people to look at things when they're all angry. And yesterday I was at a place, I'm gonna say where, and I had the owner of the place try and convince me to vote Trump. The only thing that I could say that he had merit was about that small businesses are doing good under Donald Trump. And I said, yes, that is true. I give you that, but the rest is not. So he was showing me the national debt. The one that comes out of the newspaper. You put the national debt, and the numbers are always going up. That's the national debt, which is like $23 trillion, and that's been going up for years, Republican or Democrat. Then decide to show you what each American owes to the country to take care of that national debt. And I wasn't talking to him, and when I spoke to him, I wasn't talking to him about the national debt. I was talking about the debt itself, When Barack Obama was president, he left the presidency. He left our budget. He left the debt at $585 billion. When Donald Trump came in, that debt rose and increased by 72 or 73% more. I think something like that. And it was before COVID. Our deficit was $982 billion, and at the end of 2020, it was going to be $1.02 trillion. So he rose that debt that Donald Trump, that Barack Obama left. And when he showed me this national debt, I was like, "What are you talking about?" So I didn't want to argue with him because I think, and then he tried to make some points that made no sense to me at all. But you can't, with hard-headed people. I mean, I love conversating, and I respect everybody's opinion. I respect his opinion too. But like I told him, you say, President Trump said he was gonna have companies come back, but they all outsourced to other countries. And you look at it, make Donald Trump make America again. What does it say? Made in China. But yeah, he said he was gonna bring his stuff here. So I told him, get me something that says Trump and Made in America. He goes, will you wear it? I think I'll wear it if it says Made in America. It's something that I can see was made here, not something that you took home and you sold it together, because I know the difference. Okay, I'm for America. I to be honest with you, I get mad when I see something made in another country, something that we could have produced ourselves, something that we could have people in America could have had jobs because of that. I get tired of making a phone call and I have to call a customer service and I'm talking to someone in India or someone in Taiwan, but they're mostly Indians. I'm tired of talking to them. Their name is Shabib, but they Americanize themselves as Daniel or as Bob. Oh, hi, my name is Bob. What are you doing? My name is Bob. I can help you. No. Same thing with Facebook. Everybody's outsourcing outside the United States. It's kind of rare that you see something that's made in the USA, and that's what even if I have to pay a little bit extra, I want things to be done here because I want people to work. I want people to do good. I want people to rise. I don't want to go to another country because it's far cheaper out there. You buy a pair of sneakers of Nikes. Nikes cost you $200, $300. Well, to make a Nike shoe costs like $20, bro. And they pay these people $2 per day on a sweatshop to be there for hours so that you can rock a $200 sneakers. I don't wear Nike not because of that reason, but I just don't wear Nike. I don't like Nike. And if it was for that reason, I would have never worn Nikes. I'm not into child labor. I don't like child manipulation. I mean, a piece of child labor. I don't like child abuse. I don't like child trafficking. That's the other thing that I'm talking about tomorrow. I'm gonna do Super Tuesday. I'm gonna do child trafficking. That's why I'm here. I'm taking notes. I'm writing everything down on child trafficking countries and all that kind of stuff. Because we need to get in touch. My show is gonna be this week. It's gonna be somewhat totally different. So I want you people to join in. But today, my condolences go out to the family of Cannon. I want to get his last name right. I know it's easy, guys. I know him, but I haven't seen it that much. So please do forgive me, family. Where are my other plates? All right. Cannon Hinnant, 5 years old, was murdered in front of his home riding a bike. And the murder was daring session. And his father said he doesn't believe it was racially motivated. But something triggered that man to just go in front of that kid and just shoot him in front of his sister. Something triggered it. So that's why you can't say, you can't compare that. You can't compare that to George Floyd. Because George Floyd was televised. I mean, they showed it for 8 minutes. You saw this man on the ground. This kid just happened to be in his park and this asshole decides to shoot him. We got to find out why. So instead of mongering and saying all these things that he didn't get media coverage, pay your respect. Put something if you have on Facebook. Put something on your Facebook. If you have Instagram, put something on your Instagram. If you have YouTube, put something on YouTube. Commemorate this kid's life, even though it was short. But show your love for the kid, and not just for that kid, for all kids and all innocent people who have died in the hands of assholes. Because that man who killed that Darius Sessions, he's a coward. You don't do that. That's a coward move. And hopefully, I hope that he gets what he gets in jail. whatever it is. Yes, I'm a religious man. I'm not religious. I'm a Christian man, and I don't believe in that. I believe that a man deserves a second chance. But this was so cruel that it takes me to my core, and I don't like that. I don't like abuse. I don't like abuse. I don't like man hitting women. I don't like women hitting men. I don't like you beating up a child. I don't like you beating up a dog or cat or any animal. I don't like animal abuse. I just don't like abuse, period. I don't like bullying. I hate bullying. That's one of my subjects is going to come up to. Teen bullying, cyberbullying. I don't like no type of bullying at all. You know, but we got to remember this young kid. We got to remember this young boy. And for those who don't live in North Carolina, and those who live elsewhere, that's how you pay tribute to that young man. Don't listen to these idiots, the Tuckers, the Walsh, the Trump Jr. Don't listen to them, because all they do is just divide, okay? And then they're gonna divide you, and then you're gonna voice your own opinion, and you're like, oh, blah, yeah, it's true. They don't do no coverage, so we must riot. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Let's first get the facts. Let's get as to the why this asshole shot this young boy. You know, because there gotta be a reason as to why. And we work, and then let the police do the job, and then work from there, and then we can work out feelings from there and say, you know what? Okay, this is true. Blah 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 blah. We're going through a lot in this country. For us to be blaming, oh, the media didn't do this, the media didn't do that, no, because you know what? Then we'll be back to square one with the riots. And that kid that Walsh, he just mentioned riots. Why would he mention riots? You know, the job, why would the Trump Jr. say anything? His job was to, as an American, as an advisor to the president, his job should have been, the humane thing was to call that kid's family and grant your condolences and give your condolences. Because that would have been a big boost. That would have been, people would have said, you know what? I like Donald Trump Jr. because look what he did. He called that family and he gave his condolences. He didn't have to, but he did. So that shows he's sympathy. So he's empathetic of the people. Shows you're a human being. But no, he didn't do that. He just stir up shit and said, oh, the media's not covering it. It's always the media. And trying to stir something that's not supposed to be stirred. But I will say my condolences to the Hinnant family. My condolences to the mother and father of this young boy. My condolences to the whole entire neighborhood, which I know they knew this kid must be grieving. I cannot say I know how they feel because I've never been in that type of situation. But I hope that me or none of us will ever be in that situation. What I can do is just give my condolences. They have a GoFundMe page for me if you guys want to go to that. It has raised over $770,000, so that's good. And you probably people may say, oh, you know, why so much? Why people giving us so much? You know what they're gonna do with $770,000? Well, they can take their money and give their son a proper, good burial. They can take the rest of the money and put it into college funds to the daughter, to the child, or put up a charity in the memory of Ken and Hinnant. So there's a lot of things they can do positively with the rest of the money that they don't use. So I don't mind giving to that. I don't mind donating for that cause. But I can say that here, King family and King Gio's family, we give our condolences to the parents of this young boy who was murdered in a cowardly way. And I pray for the healing of the neighborhood. I pray for the healing of the parents, and hopefully we'll get news as to why this asshole did what he did. And you, Mr. Walsh, I'm gonna get your name correctly before I leave. I was gonna call you a name, but it's not worth it. Matt Walsh. Before you talk, you say you're a religious conservative. That's why, because you're a conservative. I never heard of that. I never, unless you're Orthodox, I never heard of a conservative, a religious person. But anyway, if you're conservative, keep your views to yourself. Be sympathetic and be empathetic to the family and those who have passed away. Have yourself a heart. Stop preaching the word of God and spew out these kind of things. Because remember, God tells you, you earthly things, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give to God what belongs to God. Your job was not to give an opinion about media coverage. Your job is not to give opinion about it's going to be a riot. Your job as a religious person is to make sure that you keep law, that you keep order in a spiritual manner. That you can give advice in a spiritual manner to the family. That you can tell other people who are suffering because of this or suffering because of anything else. That you give them spiritual guidance. And let them know that God is there. Let them know that Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, is there. Don't spew out dumb stuff like this.